wanted to ask you, what is the best route to becoming a surgeon right now? I'm 38, but I need to advance myself in career. If you have any tips, advice, and pathways you can enlighten me to, would be a blessing. God bless you. What kind of grades on average should they be getting in their prereqs?
I mean, you should try to get as good a grade as you possibly can, right? Do you absolutely have to have a 4.0 to get into medical school? Hell no.
Can you say that again?
Hell no. So if your pre-med advisor is telling you that you don't have a 4.0, you fail this class, and that will forever determine the entire trajectory of your entire life, they don't know what they're talking about.
Next question. Work-life balance for a surgeon. I'm not even going to read this question.
Non-existent.
I'm just going to say non-existent.
That's not true.
Yeah, right. So someone wrote, hey, long time no talk. I'm in the process now of deciding what field of medicine that I want to do. I'm really interested in surgery, specifically trauma, and almost can't see myself doing anything else at this point. However, I wanted to know from the attending side of things, how is your work-life balance? What's an average schedule for you? And do you feel like you have enough time for family and other things that you enjoy?
Who's it from?
That is from J.A.
Jackass.
Don't do that to him. Don't do that to him. Come on now. We gotta respect the people right now. Don't do that to him. Don't do that to him.
You could have said his first name and then his first initial of his last name.
That's why I just said J.A.
I said, but J.A. sounds like Jackass.
That's his initials, J.A.
That's fine.
So listen, thank you for writing in. This is a very good question. So I'm a trauma surgeon, and I think the majority of trauma surgeons over the last 10 years, if not longer, we've transitioned to something that textbooks got online versions. She ain't wrong. Show them. Oh, before we move on, hold on, guys.
You went back to the textbook.
This is what. And then if you're African,
no, like this.
Then you got to do this.
No.
Right?
No, you got to hold it in your hand.
You got to do this. You have to hold it. Be on your knees if you're being punished by your parents. You got to do this. You didn't have to do this?
No, it's this. It's not on your head. It's on your hand.
Right.
You have to hold it up like this.
Dr. Love, did you have to do this? I don't know.
And two textbooks.
Do Nigerians do that too?
You on your knees. Your hands are out. The textbooks are on your hands. That's how.
You didn't have to put your hand in the fire?
Nobody made you put your hand in the fire.
You have to put your hand in the fire. If you're lying, then if you put your hand in the fire, then it won't burn you. You never heard that?
Yes, I have heard that.
Okay.
But I never got my hand put in a daggone fire knee. Whatever.
My question is not related to surgery, but what advice would you give to recently matched and soon to start the intern year? All right, we got you. Hold on a second. Let's answer this question real quick. So, head for me, not the hand. I told you, you're not African. How you know? Just move, man. Let's get out of here, man. Get some hands, though. True Africans know what I'm talking about when you get punished. Huh? You go on your knees, they put something here, and you do this too. Come on, stop.
Y'all got it easy on your head. You can carry mad weight on your head.
Listen, man, come on, yo. You don't know. You don't know.
Carry mad weight.
We got some trauma. We got some trauma in our
lives.
Nothing.
This is way harder. Your hands are way
trauma
harder
in our lives, and there's certain things that we just don't forget.
A trauma surgeon to cut out your trauma.
All right, so work-life balance. Come on, let's get to a work-life balance. Look, I'm gonna be really honest with you. With trauma surgery is definitely shift work, and I love it. Ask any ER doc, ask any trauma surgeon, ask any hospitalist. In essence, I come in, my day starts either at 7 a.m., and if it starts at 7 a.m., I'm done at 7 p.m. If it starts at 7 p.m., then I'm done the next morning at 7 a.m. And during that 12-hour span, I get like a sign out from the person who just finished, and they let me know about all the things that have happened, everybody who has surgery, everybody who needs surgery. And during those 12 hours, I take care of everything that needs to occur. Any surgical emergencies, I do rounding if it's during the daytime. I go to clinic if it's during the daytime, and, just try to get it all done. And then once my 12 hours are done, off to the next one. Now, let's say, for example, it's like hour 11 and I have to do like an appendectomy, right? Like I don't just leave in the middle of the case and then my partner takes over. Doesn't work like that. We don't do that. That's really extreme, right? Even if I start a surgery, at hour 11 and I got like 5 hours, it's a 5-hour surgery. I'm not going to leave. My partner will come in and help me during that case and so forth, but we don't do stuff like that. But at the end of my 12-hour shift, I'm done. Nobody can ask me for consults. Nobody can get to me. My phone is off, actually. And the only person who can reach me is is the surgeon who's coming on. He or she can reach me. And then also the physician assistant who's new coming on also. And then the next 12 hours, I'm resting or catching up on things that I need to catch up on. When I do my work, I'm traveling. I'm in a hotel, so those next 12 hours I'm FaceTiming or, WhatsApp with my wife and the kids. I'm talking with family. I'm exercising. I'm working on my nutrition. I'm working on the podcast. I'm working on CME. I'm just catching up on a lot of things that I need to catch up on. And I do that for about a straight week. And then I'll be off for a week. And then I'll come back and hit it again for a straight week. And for me, that's been the best way to balance being a doc, being a husband, and being a dad. Is it perfect? Hell no. Is there balance? Hell no. There's no such thing as balance. I'm going to tell you this right now. I know people who work less than me and they still have worse, outcomes and stuff, right? Because you prioritize what's important to you, right?
Okay.
So for me, what I prioritize for me is first my family and then my career. Right. And I make sure that I try to give, equal attention to both, but you can never. Right. I just make sure, or the most important thing is that I have an understanding wife. I have, kids who are starting to really understand what we do for a living. And, we just try to do our best. Right. And not everything's going to be perfect. There's going to be some sacrifices. Some things are going to fall by the wayside. But in essence, that's my schedule. And I've been doing that for over 10 years now, and it works. And I like it. That schedule, probably up until 7 years ago when we were paying off debt, it was a little bit busier than that, right? So when we were paying off our debt, I was pulling in like crazy shifts.
Yeah.
Right. So the way how we did that is Renee was part-time and I was full-time when we had a ton of debt. We lived off of her part-time salary. And then we used all of my salary and then all the extra work that she did as a locums. And then all the extra work that I did as a locums, and we put that all towards the debt. And we were able to pay off our debt in 3 years. That's $662,000. And then once that was done, then I kind of slowed down a little bit after a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I had to slow down a little bit. And that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So
would you say that that's pretty typical, the way that you work? That's pretty typical for most trauma surgeons?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that most trauma surgeons will find that the shift work model works the best for patient care, right? Because if you do a long stretch, I'm talking about 24 hours, or if you do, like a weekend straight where you're making, with no time off, what you end up having is decision fatigue where everybody's calling you for everything, right? And so you either want to have that for 12 hours or do you want to have that for 72 hours? And I think that's really tough because the decisions that you're going to make at hour 2, hour 5, hour 7 are definitely, those decisions are going to be a little bit different and skewed at hour 34, 48. And definitely close to 72.
Work avoidance for the sake of energy conservation.
So you got to be really careful about that. So for me, I don't do anything more than 12-hour shifts anymore. I just don't, because it's just better for me. It's better for patients. And that's the way I like it. So if you're deciding on what you want to do, I would just make sure that, you try your best to shadow as many specialties as possible. Talk to as many people as possible. When I did general surgery, I really enjoyed general surgery, but there was this one thing about trauma that I just really liked. It's really exciting. And but that excitement only lasts for so long, right? Like you can't be in your 60s being excited about what's going to come in.
You done seen it all by then.
Then. But the thing about trauma surgery for me is there's a versatility that it has that you don't really get a chance to see in other specialties. So with trauma surgery, you're trained for critical care, so you can just see intensive care patients if you want to, right? Just like hospital or intense, pulmonary critical care docs can. So you could just be in the ICU if you want to. You can just do general surgery if you want to, and you could just do trauma if you want to, right? So there's 3 separate things that you can do.
Trauma, you're most likely doing ICU.
Not necessarily, right? Because there's still trauma centers that use general surgeons who do trauma,
that's true. But they don't do
but they don't do the ICU, right?
Yeah.
So you can still get away with that depending on what state you're in, depending on what type of trauma center that you're at, that you can still do that.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a lot of variability in what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
So
Interesting. Hopefully that answered the question.
yeah. So the last part is, do you make enough time for your family and other things that you enjoy? So I'll leave it to you. Do I make enough time for y'all? Putting you on the spot.
No, you do.
Putting you on the spot. Putting you on the spot.
You want to beat with that?
Putting you on the spot. Hey. Putting you on the spot. Hey. Putting you on the spot. Hey. On the spot. Hey.
Okay. Oh no! Don't start that dance challenge again.
No, don't work.
With your Ankara on, but whatever. So no, you do. You make enough time. There was a point at which you were working a lot more than I think you needed to work. When you were pulling like those 18-day stretches and things like that. That was a bit excessive. But what's nice about working as a locum tenens is that you can pull back whenever you want. So, and you've pulled back pretty darn good. So you're now up to what, 7 to 10 days a month?
A little bit more than that. So a little bit more than that. So
a little bit more.
Yeah, a little bit more than that.
I just gave you big ups.
All right. So Dr. Love says, why
check your schedule?
Why I never understood why general surgery docs do 48-hour weekends and such. Yeah. So, yeah, that part I don't get. But you do that too, right? So you do.
I do a 62-hour. But see, mine is different.
Fuck that.
No, mine is a little bit different, right? Especially depending on where I am. So I do a 62-hour stretch. So Friday evening into Monday morning. But I tend to choose facilities that have a certain number of deliveries, that have a certain level of care that I know it can only get but so busy, right? So it's not like trauma surgery. Like your service and my service, they can get busy, but the way my service gets busy is very different than the way your service gets busy, right? If I end up having a lot of deliveries, don't forget, right? There is rest usually in between, right? I'm not, in the room with a patient when she's 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters, 5 centimeters, 6 centimeters, 7, like I don't have to be there for every single centimeter, right? That's what the nurses essentially do. They monitor the patients and they're, doing the one-on-one with the patients kind of every step of the way. So a patient could literally, be there. I check her, she's, let's say 4 centimeters. And I can come back, a few hours later and check her again. So I don't need to be there, every single hour, or every single minute of her labor. So that's the difference. If you have somebody actively dying, like you have to be there with that person.
Yeah, I get it.
So that's a little bit different. So I can actually get rest even though I have active patients.
Got you.
Advice for someone who is newly matched would be literally to be flexible and understand that life today is not going to look like life tomorrow. So be prepared in some way, shape, or form to be shocked